Recorded live with little or no editing. It's Defense Up. I'm your dictator of defense, Run 7. How you doing? Today we're going over HydraHomie. He's got a pretty, his defense scales. It scales. As you can see, he's starting out, at this, whoops, my screen's all screwed up. Look at that. Let's try that one. Okay, there we go. Whatever, it's just going to look crooked. He's got a defense that kind of scales in an interesting way. It starts out pretty low, as you can see here as I fix my windows, and gets pretty crazy pretty fast. So let's take a look. We grade on 5 different criteria. It's who you're using, their placement, their power levels, their ISO 8, and what kind of mood I'm in. Team number 1 is the Mercs. Now he's got a weird one here. We got Black Panther in there in place of Merc Lieutenant. Otherwise, it's a pretty good setup. Actually, no, it's not. This is a terrible setup. This is all wrong. Everything in here I hate. I hate everything. Okay. So what I don't even know where to start. Actually, there's so much about this I hate. Let's start with the placement. Actually, let's start with who you're using. Okay, get Black Panther out of there. I know he's got synergy with Shuri, but he's garbage, man. He's just garbage. Wait for the new movie, and maybe he'll get a rework or something. I don't know, but he's garbage. Get him out of there. Get Merc Lieutenant in here. Merc Lieutenant is kind of a linchpin in this team. Then you're gonna go from left to right. I think you should go Shuri, then Killmonger, then Riot Guard, then Merc Lieutenant, and then Taskmaster on the end. Yeah, that sounds about right. Your ISOs are atrocious. Taskmaster should be a skirmisher. Everyone else should be a striker except for Shuri. If you replace Shuri with a different Merc, then that Merc would be a striker because you're going for the 3-hit combo, that striker skirmisher setup. Taskmaster is assisting on every Merc's attack, so you want him as a skirmisher to place the vulnerable. Then the game does a check and sees that there's a vulnerable and makes the first Merc attack again into it because they're striker. Your power levels are too low for this team. You've got 6 red stars on Taskmaster. You should be building him up, and if you build him up, you build up the rest of the team. He's a good tune. I'm going to be bringing him in on my second run for Dark Dimension 4. He's still good. He's got some value. And if you bring this team up high enough, it forces your opponent to bring in Skilletary. Once they get above like 400, 450, the X-Force team has trouble hanging with them. They're all about that opener. And Skilletary is the answer to this. And a lot of people just don't have Skilletary. It's a little bit of a luxury team. So I don't like your placement. I don't like your power levels. I don't like who you're using. I don't like your ISOs. I am in a pretty good mood, but that's not going to do it for you. This is a D. Sorry. Team number 2, Guardians. It's a whatever team. It's a filler. I think there's things that you can be using Star-Lord for and Drax for in some weird wonky hybrids these days, but you don't have them at high enough power level to be using them, and they're not worth building up to put into those hybrids. That's just for old school players. So this is what you're doing. Yeah, this is what we do with this team now that Infinity Watch took Gamora. I think your placement's great. I think your ISOs are wrong. You should have Healer on Drax, Skirmisher on Groot. Healer is correct on Mantis, and then you want Striker on Rocket and Star-Lord. I know Rocket has AoEs and splash damage, but you're looking for the triple and quadruple hit combo that they utilize with Groot. So do that. Placement's fine. Power levels are okay. You should bring up Drax a little bit, make him last longer, or at least put Fortifier on him in the meantime. But I would prefer Healer on him. And then, yeah, it is what it is. It's a filler team. You're just not doing great with it. I'm just going to give you a C+ for this. 3, Doc Ock Sinister 6. I'd like to see Rhino adjacent to Doc Ock. That cleanse of his is pretty pretty valuable. I know that the chargeable characters are pretty squishy. So, and you don't have much power on them. Yeah, I guess you kind of got to go with this lineup. At this power level, this lineup's pretty good. If you could raise the power level of Swarm and Electro, God, those names are getting tough. Then I would say put Rhino adjacent to Doc Ock for his cleanse ability, but it is what it is. Get Mysterio out of there, though. He's a liability for sure. Trade him with whoever you have the most investment in. I personally like I like Vulture just because he's fast. He starts getting in some hits early on. But Green Goblin's okay too. You went all healer for the entire team. Whatever, that's what you do when you don't know what to do. It's a terrible idea though. So Mysterio should be Raider. Swarm should be a Striker or a Skirmisher. Electro should be a Raider. Doc Ock is a healer, and Rhino should be a healer. So get those changed. You might want to... I don't know. This team's kind of on the downhill slide right now. We're waiting for Kraven the Hunter to come out and mix up the whole Sinister Six again, because they're no good. Honestly, you should break this team up and use Doc Ock someplace else on a hybrid defense. But this is what you got. I'm going to give you a C+ for this also. It's okay. Your power levels are so low that this team ain't causing problems anywhere. I think the thing that really is going to catch people off guard is they're going to see 250 power level and not realize that Doc is pretty much maxed out, and that might catch people off guard. So, yeah, well, you know what? I'll give you a B- for this actually, just for that. You might catch somebody off guard. Team number 4, PymTech. PymTech sucks. Ghost is where it's at. You have Ghost maxed out. You might as well take her to ISO level 5. You're going to need it soon. The rest of the team, forget it. Who cares? And yeah, and then like it really doesn't matter. You've got the correct ISOs on this team. You could put Healer or Fortifier on Stature. Otherwise, yeah, you got it right. So okay, this is I mean, I hate this team. But you've done everything right, so I'll give you the A for it. Let's see. Wave 1 Avengers with Sif in there in place of Black Widow and Captain Marvel in there in place of Hawkeye. I would rather see Hawkeye in there in place of Sif. The taunt does help against the supernatural teams, but... the blinds kind of screw them up pretty good too. I don't know. I think putting Sif in here opens them up to other counters, whereas Hawkeye's blind kind of forces them to come in with supernaturals. Your power levels are pretty good. I'd like to see you bring up the Hulk a little bit more. You should put Raider on Thor. You should put Healer on Cap. And I don't know why you have Skirmisher on Sif. Just so that there's somebody putting vulnerables out there. Yeah, Sif actually is supposed to be a Raider, I believe, but you can run her as a healer also. Captain Marvel's a Striker's fine. Placement doesn't matter with this build. Yeah, I'd like to see Barton in there instead of Sif. I'd like to see it go Captain America, Hulk, then Thor, then, preferably Black Widow and then Barton. But if you're going to run Captain Marvel, then Captain Marvel and Barton. I'm not... Your power levels are kind of... Well, I mean, Sif is your biggest character. That's going to raise your total damage right here, the thing people first glance at. And they're going to be like, oh, that's pretty big. I'll bring in my big supernatural team and then wipe them out and then be like, oh, wow, I kind of overdid it. So all you're doing is ensuring that they destroy this team in one shot. I think this is a C at best. And here's where we get into the big leagues. We got Black Order. Looks like you're pushing the maximums on this. I'd like to see you star out Proxima Midnight. Get up your legendary characters. Get the stars on all these people. I mean, Cull Obsidian, of course, you're not going to be able to get that star on him anytime soon. But, get the stars on the rest of the team. It's doable. It's a great team. It's your tactical nuke. It still destroys almost anything in war, so you can use it on offense. Great for defense. It usually just forces people to come in here with a specifically built hybrid counter, which no one's going to be using that in war because you got to break up too many teams, or it requires Infinity Watch or another Black Order. So it's great. It'll soak up a Black Order, which is great for what's coming up next. But let's see. Skirmisher, Raider. No, you need Skirmisher Striker on the married couple. So change Corvus Glaive to a Striker, or you could do Striker on Proxima and Skirmisher on Corvus Glaive. I like it that way. I like the burst damage up front, especially because I use them on offense and I'm controlling them. If you're on defense, it really probably should be Skirmisher on Proxima, Striker on Corvus Glaive, because he's more of a damage dealer and you don't have the control to utilize that tactic. Get the gear on these guys. Bring them all up to 14 at least. And let's see. Raider on Thanos is good. And Striker on Cull is okay. You could put Healer on Cull also. You could put Healer on, well, you can put anything on Thanos, really. Yeah, you're doing okay with this. This is a pretty decent build. I'd like to see you touch it up a little bit better. I'm going to give you a B. Team number 8. This is the moneymaker. This is what stops people cold in their tracks, is the Infinity Watch team. Now, the only way to beat the Infinity Watch team reliably is with an Infinity Watch team. You can replace Adam Warlock with either Silver Surfer or Kestrel. You can even do it with Emma, but you're not going to be punching up very high with that. I think that people are going to come in here with their own Infinity Watch team. Like, I don't think anybody's going to bring Infinity Watch up to 640, or 600 even without Adam Warlock. But I don't know, maybe it's worth it. You should. But anyway, this requires a serious counter. So I think you're doing real good on the points and investment here. You've got good red stars all over that team. That 6 red star Gamora is very sexy. Looks like you've put a lot of T4s into her also. Phyla-Vell looking good, and they're all, yeah, it's just looking great. Bring up the power level on Nebula. She needs to be up over 100 for sure. She's kind of going to be a weak point. Like, if I saw that, she would be my secondary target. Yeah, I like the ISOs. Tell me how the healer works on Moondragon, because that's a secondary choice. It should be Striker, but she doesn't do it. Her health bar is the big stat, and they did that to influence people to make her a healer because she is a healer. But the counter strike combo thing, the Striker Skirmisher combo, is what's key to this team, and so most everybody does her as a Striker. I'm curious how this works. I'm not going to dock you for it. I think it's a good build. The only thing I really want to see is you bring up the power levels on Nebula. You can farm her quite easily, so there's no reason not to have her at 7 stars by now. Gonna give you a B for that. Yeah, looking pretty good. By the way to beat this team in like arena is you target Phyla-Vell, you go basic, special, basic, hit auto, and you win. As long as it's a punch across, you'll win. So that's how you beat it. So this has been HydraHomie's Defense Up review. If you like what you saw, or you want to have your defense featured, please contact me on Discord. There's links in the description. Give it a like. Help me beat that stupid algorithm. And the best thing you can do is share this with your friends, because I need to get in front of some new eyeballs. That's what it needs to happen. Sorry about the thumbnails. I know my thumbnails suck. I'm just too lazy to do anything about it. Anyway, if you had a good time, hit like, subscribe. Catch me on Twitch for more videos. I stream every Thursday, 9 to noon on the Pacific Coast. Remember, don't just have a good game. Be good to each other too. Thanks.